Hi, welcome to Psychosynthesis Forum. My name is Lars Gimsted and I work here as a coach and as a therapist. We offer many different services in our website, psychosynthesisforum.com. And in our web shop, there are a large number of products for self-help and personal growth, like ebooks, e-courses, meditations, and visualizations. In this video clip, I will talk about our course, Eliminate the Time Thieves. In my work as a therapist, I have met many clients with burnout syndromes. Normally, I used to work first with identifying external causes, like fuzzy leadership from management, unclear organization and role descriptions, and then with inner causes, like personal psychological patterns, reaction conditionings, self-image, and so on. But a couple of years ago, I tested working a bit less therapeutic and trying to focus on the client's methods for personal planning. In some cases, this made the client's stress levels to decrease dramatically and quickly, and continued psychological therapy was not necessary. I therefore added the work with the client's methods for personal planning to my treatment program for burnout, and I have now worked like this for many years. Many of the concrete methods I bring up in this part of my client work around coping with stress come from my own personal experience, as well as from hearing what my clients have done themselves. My own experience is to a large extent from having worked in corporate business during 30 years, out of which the last 10 years in the roles of department manager and project manager. Using the experiences from my work with stress coping, I developed the course ETT, Eliminate the Time Thieves, for managers and for work teams. The course first consists of an analysis of actual problem areas and how to find solutions. Then it includes sessions in smaller groups for discussing the practical applications of the different suggestions given in the course, and how to design these to their specific work situation. A prominent factor behind stress and burnout is the fact that we sometimes use our brain in ways it strictly is not designed for. The memory function in our brain can, roughly speaking, be seen as being divided into two different parts: the short-term memory and the long-term memory. In the long-term memory, we store knowledge, experiences, and our entire biographical history. A useful metaphor for our long-term memory is a computer's hard disk. It can store very much, but sometimes the information can take a long time to retrieve. Our short-term memory is like a computer's working memory, RAM, random access memory. Both storing and retrieving information is done quickly and in a highly efficient way. But just as with a computer's RAM, the brain's short-term memory has limited capacity. It can store 7 ± 2 things at the same time. Despite of this, many of us still try to keep 50 to 100 things in our heads, stuff that does not represent memories or knowledge, and which therefore cannot be stored in our long-term memory. Stuff that is only things we have to plan to do, and which we don't want to forget to do. That this mental feat is altogether possible against the background of what we said before about the limited capacity of the short-term memory is due to the fact that we have developed different methods for doing, quote, memory refresh, unquote, all the time. To-do lists, post-its, handwritten notes in the margins of our calendar, or one just thinks about the different things again and again in order not to forget them, or one talks about them again and again in order to remind oneself, and so on and so on. This costs enormous amounts of mental energy. The brain, that normally in a relaxed state consumes approximately 20% of all energy we take in through food and beverage, is now strained way above this level. Having been doing this over a long time makes us so accustomed to it that it has become the subconscious state, and which also has become our normal state. But as was stated a moment ago, our brain is not designed to be used in this way. In mild cases, such a constant overload, this leads to symptoms like a constant experience of fatigue, irritability, and a sense of constant stress. In more severe cases, the consequence of the constant overload is that the brain never really sinks down into the state of mental relaxation it needs on a regular basis, not only through good sleep quality during the night, but also during daytime with an interval of 60 to 120 minutes. Without this necessary recuperation, the brain will stay in a constant state of alert, so to say. This state will soon become brain stress, and it will stay active even during the sleep, and it will affect the quality of sleep in a negative way. It will then give symptoms as reduced ability to focus, memory gaps, unreasonable emotional outbursts, illogical thinking patterns, depression. It also affects the immune system in a negative way, which can lead to recurring colds, slow healing wounds, and can increase the risk for autoimmune disorders. Many of the pieces of advice offered in the course Eliminate the Time Thieves will be about creating systems that will help you to remember to forget. Systems that store the information you need in order to work and to lead your life tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and the time after this. Systems that store the information that you will need then, but that you do not need now, during today. Things that you do not need to know now or during this day shall not burden your brain. Having systems and personal routines that are suited to your needs and which you trust will work without hassle will help you to follow the advice. Remember to forget what you do not have to remember just now. This piece of advice is of course extra important when you are to leave your work going home in the evening. The expression "don't bring your work home" needs to be transformed into concrete action through a routine where this is made possible. If this is not done for real, one may believe that one has left work behind, but in reality it still grinds on in your subconscious mind. When you have created personal routines and systems allowing you to follow this advice, your brain will easily keep in mind what you need having there in order to be focused, to be present with what is, and to be efficient in your work. If you are in a leading position, your focus, your presence, and your personal power will rub off on your subordinates. Scientific investigations have proven that the level of cortisol, one of the stress hormones, not only are affected by your own stress, but equally much also by your boss's stress level. What governs what you do, whichever form it takes, can be called assignments. You may have given yourself one, or it may have come from someone else. It can come in many different forms. In some cases it may be obvious, that it is a new assignment. In other cases, it may be hidden or just implied or hazy, vague in some other way. Examples of obvious assignments are someone asks you to do something in person or over the telephone, or a request or an order comes via a letter or an email. Examples of implied assignments are something happens, something that you usually take care of, or someone talks about something that needs to be done, or someone talks about what will happen if something will not be done, or a problem arises and someone asks for your advice, or someone brings up a problem and praises you for your ability in solving these, or you discover that you come to think of something needed to be fixed, and so on and so on. The first step in becoming more efficient in how you act when confronted with a new assignment is to become aware of that you have been assigned something. For obvious assignments, this should not be a problem. It may, though, be a problem if you have a conditioned pattern of saying things like, "Oh, I'll fix that," or "Sure thing, no sweat," or similar responses. For implied assignments, the risk of reacting in this way can of course be even larger. So the first step towards a more efficient life is be attentive, so that you become aware when asked to accept a new assignment, each time this happens, and so that you then are able to make a conscious choice of how you want to act. The course Eliminate the Time Thieves will give you input on how to develop and maintain a better strategy for meeting with and for handling all types of assignments you get. This course has now also been repackaged into an e-course for self-study use. The e-course Eliminate the Time Thieves can naturally not be individually designed to your specific work situation and your life situation as the live course can, but I believe it nevertheless can give you valuable suggestions on how to become more focused and more efficient, both in your work and in other areas of your life.